There you go. We live. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to another episode of the Extraordinary Exchange podcast. Podcast where you exchange your ears, your eyes, and your attention, and we give you valuable game for the culture. I am your co-host, Mr. Nate Bennett.
Good people of the world, what's happening, man? Case is back.
So me and Case got another special illustrious guest this evening. This gentleman is family. This gentleman don't need no introduction. For real. He's one of the members of the Extraordinary Investment Group, the investment group that powers this podcast. And we're going to talk about merchant services tonight. And he is the subject matter expert for the group on everything merchant services. He's been in that industry for a long time, over a decade. And without further ado, Mr. Yannick Rowe. What up, Yannick?
Hey, I appreciate you, Bennett. Case. Thank you for having me.
Yes, sir, man. So let me paint the picture real quick, just about how we got involved with merchant services. So y'all all know we have our Juneteenth Black Business Expo. We got our third annual one coming up in a few weeks here in Silver Spring, Maryland, on June 18th. Y'all pull up. So this will be our third annual one. We did one 3 years ago. And our first annual one, we had a beautiful marketplace with 35 vendors came, all Black businesses, some of which they were just starting at the beginning of the pandemic, had just launched their candle, their apparel, their fitness business, whatever the case may be. Beautiful event. It was a complete success. But afterwards, we noticed that there were some blind spots that in the business aspect of these businesses that they might not have been familiar with. So every MLK holiday, the men in the group, all 12 of us, go on a retreat where we talk about what we did the previous year, kind of map out what we're going to do going forward. And it was open forum. We were like, hey, what can we do to better and add more value to the community? Yannick was chilling. Everybody was throwing stuff out there. He was like, hey, so yeah, this is what we about to do. You know what I'm saying? He's like, yo, I've been in this industry for a minute, and what if we just start adding value by doing this? And that's the first time I had ever heard about merchant services. And I speak for a few gentlemen in the group. We didn't know what it was. So so we launched our own merchant services ISO, and the rest has been history. It's been massively successful. We've been helping add value, and Yannick is going to talk to us about that tonight. So yeah. Real quick, Yannick, just tell us how you got involved. Well, tell us who you are, first and foremost, and how you got involved with the merchant services space.
Appreciate it, Nate. So yeah, a little bit about myself. From the DMV area, grew up in Silver Spring, went to Springbrook High School, graduated from Morgan State University. A little bit about the merchant services space. I got into merchant services through an interesting path. I used to work for a bank's SunTrust Bank, now is known as Truist Bank. And as a platform representative, I would work with a lot of business owners coming in to open up checking accounts, savings accounts, lines of credit cards, and things of that nature. And as far as some of my goals, as far as a platform agent, was to refer to our merchant services specialist when we came across business owners and business opportunities within a branch. So it piqued my interest that's from that time going forward, as far as being in an industry where every business owner takes payment in some capacity, right? And it just sparked the interest in me. From that point on, what I did was I gained some other contacts within the space, and I started with one of the largest credit card processors on the planet, First Data, now is known as Fiserv. So that's where I got my history. I started with Fiserv back in 2012, as a lead specialist. So what I would do is I would call business owners and pique their interest about merchant services and see where the solution best fit for them, and quickly transition out of a lead generation specialist into sales, into training. And then from that point, just gaining some of that knowledge and transitioning it to our own business, which is what you mentioned as an ISO, an independent sales organization. We've partnered with a lot of sponsor banks such as Citizens Bank and PNC Bank, and our direct merchant provider, which is PaySafe. So my journey started from the bank in the branch, speaking to clients, hearing their pain points, hearing what they would need. And I've always been a person that's been someone to help people out. I always wanted to hear what the issues what may be and how I can solve them. And in this space, it provides us that avenue to really accomplish some of those goals that I have personally.
So for the people, we're talking about merchant services. A lot of businesses, small businesses, they use the Cash Apps, the PayPal's, the whatever system is out there, right, to take payment. Um, why would a merchant choose to go with a merchant services type of business, not even let's say ours, but a merchant services type of business, as opposed to a running their business with the Cash Apps, the PayPal's, the third party vendors?
Right, right. And we get that question asked a lot, Case, and that's what a lot of business owners are dealing with. I would say the biggest aspect is not only the payment acceptance piece. Merchant services is a larger scale service other than just the payment aspect. A lot of our business owners they deal with wanting to grow their business as far as some marketing, run more efficiently when it comes to payroll and things of that nature. So merchant services provides an avenue outside of just the payment acceptance piece that your Cash App, your PayPal may provide. Other solutions that's near and dear, keeping our business owners up at night, right? As far as some of those things that they want to deal with. So I would say outside of just the credit card processing piece, the additional business solutions that our merchants deal with, tax preparation, inventory management, things of that nature that Square, PayPal, they don't necessarily excel in that space or educate their clients in that space, or at the end of the day, they're outsourcing. We find a lot of our clients, they outsource a lot of those activities. And that's where the real savings comes into play. So that's what I would say is the spectrum of solutions that are there outside of just a payment acceptance piece. It's the biggest differentiator between a Square business owner and one of the clients that's processing with a merchant provider such as ourselves. But even to think about it also with Square and PayPal, we'll get into this a little bit later, hopefully within the podcast today, but the interchange and flat rates, which they promote, which are really where they're attacking our small business owners just because of lack of knowledge. We'll get into some of that. So I would say even outside of the additional solutions that merchant services as a whole provide for our business clients, such as those that are on our book of business and other merchant providers also, but just thinking about how much we save our clients money on just the credit card processing fees when they take payment alone in the education process there. But hopefully we get a chance to talk a little bit more about that too.
Let's get into it now. You mentioned interchange. Now, I've said interchange hundreds and hundreds of times over the last year and a half since we started this venture, and explaining to people what interchange is, and especially when we're on Zoom calls, because I see that light bulb go off. They're like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. Explain interchange, briefly for the guests that are listening to this, and the payment processing, the steps in the payment processing. Like, I love the analogy you use with the Godfathers being the credit card processors themselves, or the credit card companies themselves. But explain what interchange is and the credit card processing process.
Yeah, absolutely. So what interchange is it's a wholesale rate. It's a wholesale rate in layman's terms. So just like I was giving an analogy of if you were going to the grocery store to pick up a loaf of bread at your local grocery store, they put it on the shelf for, let's say, $1.75, but the grocer, they get it wholesale because they sell it in bulk, right? So they get a wholesale cost, and then they put it on the shelf for us as a consumer to purchase as far as the dollars and cents that we see. So in this example, let's say I was buying some bread, it's $1.79 on the shelf. But let's say your grocer may get it for $1, right? So their markup there is 79%, right? They got it for $1, but they put it on the shelf for $1.75. So that dollar that, let's say, your grocer gets that loaf of bread for is considered a wholesale rate. So in our world of merchant services, there's called interchange, which is the wholesale rate to process any transaction, whether it's a Visa card, a Amex card, a Discover, MasterCard. And just to let you guys know and let everyone know, these MasterCard, Visa, Discover, they're called the card associations. Card associations. So whenever you see those names and whenever I highlight that later on, you know that the card association is your MasterCard, your Visa, your Discover, your Amex. So they get a wholesale, they set the wholesale rate. So I like to call them, I consider them the Godfather, right? Because they essentially, in order to take a payment, you have to go through the networks and you have to take one of the card associations. So interchange is the wholesale rate. And then there's a piece where there's the processing of that transaction. So there's a few players in this merchant services game. First player is going to be the Godfather or the card associations. And then you have a processor, the merchant processor, the one that facilitates the transaction between a business owner taking a transaction from their client, their customer, and then that payment going into their bank account. That's that merchant processor. And that's the position that we play, which is the merchant processor to process the payment. And then the third player in this entire merchant services game is the merchant, the business owner. So interchange is the wholesale rate that MasterCard, Visa, Discover, they set that rate. And then the processor to process a transaction, there's a processing rate. And then the business owner, the client, you see that end result, that shelf rate. So for instance, everyone, or you may be familiar with seeing flat rates out there. I would say you may see flat rates around 2.69 and 30 cents per transaction. So this is where you may want to break out your pens and your pencils and a piece of paper real quick, because this is where we really get into where the savings are for our clients and the education comes into play. So for instance, and this is all public information. You can go in and you can Google interchange rates and you can see what the interchange rate would be for a Visa card, a MasterCard, an Amex card, a Discover card. So it's not hidden, but the information has to be provided to you so you know where to even find it or even know that it even exists. So for instance, MasterCard Visa's interchange rate, or even Visa in particular, is 1.51. You got to remember that. It's 1.51%. So when you hear a flat rate, which is what Square, other payment facilitators such as Square may offer a flat rate, making it seem like it's so convenient to take a transaction, right? But you know the Godfather's charging 1.51, but Square is charging the client what 2.69 and 30 cents per transaction. So if you do the math there, and if you do the math with me, that 1.51 is simple math. We'll just take the 2.9 minus 1.51, and we get 1.39. So Square is charging 1.3% above the wholesale rate, above wholesale. And if that number may seem small, but on a larger scale with a small to medium business owner where their annual revenue is anywhere between 250,000 all the way up to $5 million, that 1.39%, that really does start to add up. And that's where we come into play, educating our clients that there's an interchange rate, and you don't have to be in a structure such as a flat rate, where there's another structure which is considered interchange plus or cost plus. And that's where we price our clients at currently, is our interchange platform or interchange pricing structure. So on interchange pricing structure, our clients get the wholesale rate plus 0.5%. So what we charge to process a transaction here at our ISO at EBS Extraordinary Business Solutions is 0.5%. So we're cutting out 0.89% for our clients that we're processing with payment facilitators with a flat rate of this example of 2.69 and 30 cents per transaction. We're saving them almost a full percent on each transaction. And like I said, we like to sit down and run numbers for our business clients that, yes, it's a small number per transaction, but on a larger scale, those numbers mean a lot. So for instance, on any one of our average merchants, they're processing about $200,000 a year. That 1% savings is $2,000 back into their business on just the processing alone. We haven't even started to talk about our solutions for payroll and our solutions for inventory management, loyalty, gift cards, and things of that nature that come with the solution for free. And they're having to outsource that cost, monthly cost, whereas though those solutions are built into the platforms that we offer with some of the different solutions like Clover, like Valor Paytech, Swipe Simple. Some of these solutions that our clients are using right now are changing their lives and giving them time back. And that's another thing that's huge to business owners. Yes, we can save you money, but I tell my clients all the time, what's more valuable than money? And they're stuck sometimes, right? And we get back on into, well, what's your time worth? And that's invaluable to give them not only that time back into their lives, that takes some of that stress off of them, that keeps them up at night, with certain aspects to run the business. I gotten off into that piece, but interchange is the wholesale rate. We educate our clients to make sure that they know what the interchange rate would be on different kinds of cars that are coming into the business, because this is a new industry for a lot of people. A lot of our clients are good at exactly what they do, like making shea butter, their car washes, with their tag and title servicers. So they're good at what they do. What we're good at is educating them on their payment facilitation and how to run their business more effectively.
When it comes to presenting this ISO opportunity, I know you said like there's inventory management, there's gift cards, there's all types of stuff that can be offered that will save the merchant money in the background. What additional, I guess, like structures or opportunities may there be for, let's say, a restaurant? We said inventory management, staff, and payroll. What kind of peace of mind does partnering with a merchant services department offer that merchant?
Well, I can speak directly for our merchants and our merchant services that we offer through our ISO. The impact is having that one-on-one, that personal connection with the client, right? We don't have any clients that are just a number to us, right? Whenever there's an issue, and even if there isn't any issue, but our clients will call and just ask, how can I do payroll more efficiently, and just having the knowledge of what services are available, from a perspective of utilizing them for ourselves, but having that personal touch. Our clients can call any one of their sales agents and speak to them directly. I think that's a huge benefit for our clients, because we know exactly how they got started. We know where they're trying to grow. We take it personally, as far as how they grow their business and how they're running more efficiently. So I would say that's the biggest piece right there, is that we don't treat it as just a number, but they're one of our friends and family as well. Outside of our merchant services that we provide, just taking a payment in that aspect, we help to advertise for our clients. We have a strong social marketing team. So those things that we get to a granular detail, I'd say, is the most powerful impact for our clients, especially working with a merchant services provider.
True indeed.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So talking about, the value that we provide, as opposed to going with someone else, what strategies have you found effective for, attracting new business as a merchant services provider? Because at the end of the day, this is sales. We'll be transparent about it. You're an independent sales operation. What strategies have you seen in this space, because you've been in it for about 12, 13 years now.
Yeah.
What strategies have you seen have been effective for attracting new merchant services, or new merchant services clients to provide value to?
Referrals, 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 referrals. And just like how my shirt says here, ask me what I do, right? Networking. You've got to build out your networking group. You've got to attend seminars. You've got to attend networking events so that you're in front of not only like-minded people, but also business owners, so that you can let them know who you are, because without them knowing who you are, you won't be able to grow or scale your business, right? Things won't just fall into your lap. This business is about relationships, especially when you're dealing with merchants and clients' money, right? So the greater the relationship, the greater you'll be able to grow your book of business. But I would say just having a strong referral network, and then tapping into the existing base that you currently have, because as we provide services to our clients, and they see how beneficial it has been for them and how they've grown their business or saved some money and things of that nature, and they've built trust with someone to help manage their business, they'll be in a position to refer new business to you. So I think that that's another means that really helps to scale the business also. But like you said, Nate, this is a sales industry, right? So you've got to get out, and I call it canvassing. Get out into your communities, knock on doors, leave flyers and things of that nature. I think that that's another generator of great opportunities, is to just get out in the community, go into those, I call them lifestyle centers, and walk and talk to those business owners, because more than likely they're the ones in there taking the transaction. As small business owners, they're employing themselves, right? So I would say that those are some of the strategies that work really well, really well.
Yeah, and key word real quick, Case, before you ask you that next question, is community. I think that's been the easiest thing for us, and the reason why we've had success at Extraordinary Investment Group and EBS and everything that we've done. We've been in a community. We 12 solid dudes, and I was talking to one of our guys earlier, and sent him a text message like, "Yo, I saw something that he did to hook somebody else up," and mind you, this was months ago. We didn't even know about it, and I was like, "Yo, salute to you for always looking out, always helping people, always saying people's names when you're in certain rooms. You know what I'm saying? Putting people on, because we 12 dudes. We provide value to our communities, and we don't ask for much. But then when we launched this, because of the value and because of the integrity we've had as good stand-up dudes over the years, anytime we ask for something, it's like, yes. We started a podcast. Hey, would you be interested? Yes. Hey, we started this merchant services. We put on that event for y'all. We're also adding this. Yes. So just as we continue to do that and add value to the community, it's always been yes. So providing relationships, good, solid relationships in the community, take you a long way, not just with merchant services, but anything, man. So salute to you, man. I appreciate y'all.
Correct.
So you talked about, go ahead, my fault.
My bad. I have to bring this up, because we do have a client that went from not having a website, now he's up and running through the search. See, it's not just payment acceptance. Like you got to have those conversations where you get into the needs and the true goals of a business owner. It's just not just, hey, what's your address? How much do you do annually? I'll send you out this application and you're done, right? So this example is, geometry, shop geometry. One of our clients just launched their website. They sell some health products, healthy teas and things of that nature, but they started with just a Clover Go, and they came to us and said, hey, other solutions, what else can we do? When we built out the website, and the website is beautiful and things, it's building traffic. So just to see that client grow from doing business, which was just face-to-face trade shows and things of that nature, to now scaling the business on a larger scale, now launching the website, all under the umbrella of EBS. It's just it's beautiful to see our clients grow, and that's why we do things. This is why we do it. This is why I love it, and I have a passion for seeing examples like this. So my bad, Case. Go ahead.
Oh man, you watching you got cameras in my house, dog. Shout out to Geometry, dog. I just had some Geometry tea earlier today, dog.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Is like
Yes,
that.
sir.
Salute,
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Absolutely. So you talked about like, going out and obtaining clients, being an ISO, being a merchant services business. Are you just a local business?
No, we are nationwide. Our base is local, right? Because like we said from the get go, from what Nate mentioned, we're all from the DMV area, but we're a nationwide business. We're able to process we're able to process not only in our local states where we're at. We have different offices. We have offices in North Carolina, offices in Maryland, offices here in Atlanta, but we service the entire country. So we're nationwide.
And like, being that you're a merchant services business located on the East Coast, how do you compete with other merchant in other areas? Like, is it a cutthroat competitive market? Is it, hey, like, we need you in a contract for this amount of time as a merchant? Or is it, hey, this is what we have and offer, but if if Tommy from your local area comes with a better deal, then we might not be able to touch it. What kind of, I guess, competition, not just regionally, but being from one part and then working out nationwide?
In my opinion, I don't really see it as much of a competition, in my opinion, because it's more of an advantage when it comes to my Pacific Standard clients, right? Because being that they're a few hours behind us, it gives me an opportunity to still reach out to them within business hours, throughout the entire day, truly, because I always tell my clients, no matter what time of day it is, they can always reach me, and they can always reach their agents also. And there's never a deal that we can't beat. We have a program here at EBS, a meet or beat program. So if there was Johnny Joe Blow that came in and said, well, I can get a better rate, you can't. You can't beat our rates, and you won't beat our service. But I would say it's an advantage to me, in my opinion, for us, because we're still able to service that Pacific Standard Time client, West Coast client, because we're always available. I always make myself available, and that's kind of like the difference that we mentioned before, is that having someone to always reach out to, no matter what time of day it would be.
Yeah, give us an example real quick, because paint the picture for just a regular business owner. Because again, I think education in this space is super important, and I see this more often as I talk to more and more people and ask them, hey, what made you get the merchant services provider that you have? And a lot of times is, oh yeah, just I did a Google search, and or somebody walked in and offered this to me. Like, it'd be the most random stuff. So like, people don't focus, business owners specifically and entrepreneurs don't focus on this aspect of their business, the growth, the labor management, the inventory system, stuff of that nature. How do people typically find their merchant services provider?
Yeah, I mean, it's just like you just said. I always hear the same story, the same narrative, which was I went online and I Googled it. I Googled merchant services, or I Googled payment acceptance, or they were on Instagram. They saw something on Twitter, a feed, sign up now and get free equipment, or, things of that nature. So typically that's the narrative. That's the storyline, is they go with the name that's familiar, right? And honestly, like we said, they're good at what they do, right? They want to make life easy. I can see this. I can fill out this online application, boom, and I'm done, right? They don't. I always say they don't know the questions to ask as of yet, right? And that's it's not a bad thing, right? Because it's a great thing that small to medium business owners or business owners, period, take that initial step to go, right? And that's a scary step to take. So shout outs to all of our business owners that take that step to even get started taking payment, for the service or product that they offer. But that's how it starts. They go out, Google, even with the merchant provider that I used to work for. No one that's the largest credit card processor never would have even known their name, First Data, right? They don't run commercials or anything of that nature. They just are the largest on the back end, processing for Walmart and things of that nature. So I would say, just you hear about Square, you hear about PayPal often because of the marketing initiatives there, and I think that's where people start their journey. Not a good or a bad, not a good or a bad thing I'm saying, but that's the journey that most business owners are on.
Yeah.
All right, so let's get into the to the shenanigans, man. Like, I'm a business owner. I say, hey, EBS, they got, they got a little deal. They got some equipment, but I don't know where to start. What kind of equipment? Is there a special certain type of equipment that there is that or is it multiple types of equipment, multiple plethora of different type of, you go into the gas station, they got something. You go to the grocery store, they got something. You go to a restaurant, they got something. You go to anywhere you go, they have something that's going to take that payment. But does EBS specialize in one system?
No, and that's the beautiful thing about EBS is that there's multiple platforms, multiple processing systems for different business needs, right? So we have clients that are mobile business owners. They need payments on the go. So we have a card reader. We have virtual terminals. What a virtual terminal is they're on their phone or they're on a laptop and they need to send out a payment link. That's a virtual terminal. They take recurring payments. They don't physically see a transaction. They just key in cards for like a subscription business. We have virtual terminals. We have gateways for our business owners that have a website. They don't necessarily have a brick and mortar retail location, and they just needed to process payments on their website. So we have gateways through authorize.net. There's also configuration using Clover and the API keys to integrate to a website for a shopping cart integration. There's full-on POS systems where there's larger screens like a Clover Station, which is a 14-inch screen, down to a mobile terminal where it's more robust than just having one of those small card readers, but it's a physical terminal with a battery. So we take payments on the go. And I'm excited to even let this information out. Recently, last week, we even launched the new Pay with Your iPhone, tap to pay with your phone. So no longer do our mobile merchants that take payments at a trade show or off-site payments at baseball games or sports games in general. Our business owners can now take payments right on their cell phone to phone, through the technologies through Apple. So that's a powerful and strong release last week, where there's no equipment involved. Only thing that you need is just an account and a phone to take payment on. You wouldn't even need a card reader. So there's multiple solutions for different business owners, different business needs, and it really stems from the starting conversation. Asking them questions about their business so that you can kind of find out what solution really matches well for what their long-term and short-term goals are.
Absolutely.
Yeah, establishing that relationship and listening, have those listening skills as they, like you said, talk about some of their pain points and what keeps them up at night. That's because people don't care how much you know, they care how much you care.
Correct.
You can know all this stuff about the education and be well versed, and me being somebody new just coming in that didn't have all that information, Before even getting them on the phone with an expert, I'll just ask them, hey, so, what are some things in your business that can use improving, if you were able to put $500 extra into your business every month, what would that look like? If you're a small business owner, just to save on that processing or with your inventory management and stuff of that nature. So, so kind of a two-part question from a merchant perspective. Who is your ideal candidate for merchant services? That's an easy question. But then from an ISO standpoint, is there any specific type of business or industry that is more advantageous than another?
I would say every client is a client to me. There really isn't a business owner that doesn't suit our services, right? So I would say any business owner, we welcome to have the conversation, especially any business owner taking payment. But one thing that I would want to stress is, for those that may be thinking about going into the ISO route, would be to hone in on what you're good at. For us, it's all types of businesses, but restaurants are whales. Our nail salons, barbershops, things of that nature. Those are businesses with high traffic, right? You, as an ISO, you always want to think of not only how you can help your clients and help scale and grow their business, but for your own goals for the ISO in itself. Like you said, Nate, some whales would be the restaurant industry. You, as an ISO, you want to think ticket size. What's your average ticket size, right? And then based on that average ticket size, you want to think monthly volume. What's your monthly volume, the monthly volume processing like for that particular business owner? So I would say restaurants and retails locations as well, brick and mortar locations. Those are going to be the most lucrative business type. But when it comes to EBS, I always look at it as, money's going to come. Money will always come as long as you're doing the right thing, right? So I'm just always want to focus on helping clients, and the money will come. But as far as just targeting a certain industry, restaurants for sure, 100%.
Like risk management and fraud, right? Like that's a big thing going on
Huge.
in the world really right now, right? Like money doesn't stretch like it used to, and a lot of people are trying to eat without having to do the work. How does one be protected? How does one become protected? Is it because that they go through the banks, so you have the FDIC protection, or how does one um, how does one handle the risk management or the fraud prevention within that space?
That's a great question, Case. That's a great question. So there's an acronym, PCI, payment card industry. So we have to be PCI compliant with all equipment that any one of our clients or merchants utilize. So what that means is all of the terminals that we provide for payment acceptance are encrypted by tokenization. So not only will that transaction be tokenized, there's also what's called transarmor. Transarmor is there to protect our clients in the event that there's some kind of breach within the system, and they're protected up to $100,000 of liability. So that's built into all of the processing platforms that we sell, especially when we sell any one of our Clover devices in particular. That transarmor and that tokenization on the front end, right? On the front end of taking that transaction, tokenizing that 16-digit card number, right? Outside of that, if anything was to pass through those streams and there was some type of breach at a business location, then the transarmor comes into play to protect any one of our clients up to $100,000 of liability prevention and fees by the card associations like your MasterCard, your Visa for any breach. So similar to like what you mentioned, case like FDIC protecting up to 250,000, our merchants are protected up to $100,000 on each incident, not just accumulative, but each incident that may occur. And I'm glad to say that to this day we haven't had any breaches. And even if there was something, our clients are protected in the event that something like that would happen. Now, what's also cool is that there's apps, because we live in a day of technology. It's the age of tech. AI is running the world right now. I don't know if any of us hearing this call, or I know the guys, Case and Nate, you guys trade on the stock market. And if you've seen what's been happening the past couple of days because of AI integration with different businesses like Microsoft, Nvidia, all types of businesses, right? So I would say even in the age of technology here now, where like I was saying about the stocks, recently stocks have been flying this past week on the stock market. I don't know how many of us have been trading, right? But if you have been trading, you've been seeing Nvidia flying out going what we call to the moon. AMD going to the moon. Microsoft hitting new 52-week highs. Google making 52-week highs, all because of the new AI integrations, right? And how tech is really driving the way we live our lives. And tech is driving the way our merchants are processing transactions and how they're managing their business and how they're saving money is through tech. And that's another piece of this merchant services, especially with EBS, is how we keep up with the times. We keep up with technology. And to this point of protecting our clients when it comes to liability and fraud. On our Clover platform, it's an app-driven platform. It's an ecosystem, just like your cell phone. Your cell phone was made to do what? Make a phone call. But if I looked at my activity report on my iPhone, I'm going to see less than 1% of me actually using the phone app. You're going to see a lot of Discord. You're going to see a lot of Robinhood, Webull, Yahoo Sports, ESPN Sports, things that I use to JP Morgan Chase, things that I use to manage my lifestyle, right? Same thing, same rules apply when it comes to our processing systems. Like Casey asked about the platforms and the different terminals. They're all smart-based. They're smart terminals. So no longer do we have dinosaur terminals that you've seen in the past, maybe at your local gas station with it's a little black box with the numbers on the pad. All of our terminals are touchscreen, right? Made of Gorilla Glass and things of that nature. So in the lines of protecting our clients and fraud, for instance, there's an app on Clover called the Chargeback Fighter. And what chargebacks are in the business world is when, let's say I use my card somewhere, I drop it on the ground and I call the bank to dispute a transaction because I see that there's charges on my bank account that I didn't do because I dropped my card, somebody picked it up and they're using it now, right? When you call the bank and you dispute a charge, that's called a chargeback to a business owner, chargeback. So some of our business owners, they deal with high chargebacks in their industry, especially like in the furniture industry, for instance. But when that happens, our business owners are protected because there's little cameras on our terminals, little cameras on the terminal, credit card terminal, a camera. Can you believe it? It's on our terminals where on each one of the transactions that a customer would swipe a card, their picture is taken. So our owners have some means to dispute a chargeback to say, no, sir, no, Yannick, I see that's your big bald head on my screen when you took that transaction or when you paid me for that. So don't call the bank and say it wasn't you because it's clearly you here in this picture. But that's exactly really how this works. Every time one of the terminals are used, a card is swiped through the terminal, a picture is snapped of that customer, and that picture is sent to the client's email inbox. So in the event that a chargeback comes back on them, right, hey, this was an unauthorized transaction, they have some kind of proof to provide to dispute that transaction and win that case. That's just for instance, as far as liability is concerned. But all of our clients are protected by $100,000 through TransArmor and tokenization on the processing platforms.
Perfect segue. Perfect segue. You talked about tech. All right. I'm an apparel brand, right? Got a kiosk at the mall. And I'm great at Excel. I got an IT background. What are some of the apps or like common advantages you have going through a merchant services provider? Because I use my inventory. I have a smooth Excel spreadsheet. When someone buys a T-shirt and some socks, I go into my spreadsheet. I take that off, and it takes it off automatically. I'm good. Why do I need your tech and your apps with your merchant services provider?
A couple things. That's great too. That's great.
Not just inventory. Give me a couple, like 2 or 3, apps that'll help the common business owner, specifically in apparel.
Specifically in apparel, the number one would be the basic inventory app. Mm-hmm. So that basic inventory app that comes with the platform, it auto decrements for retail clients. So what that means is it takes that process that you just described, Nate, as far as, okay, I sold a black T-shirt. Let me go into my Excel spreadsheet and take one off of 100. Now I should be at 99, right? The system does that for you automatically. What that does for you, it eliminates human error. We're all human, right? And in the age of tech, we see as though that, tech eliminates some of that human error mistake. Whereas though you may have forgotten, some of our business owners, they're so busy, they're tied up into making this sale or taking this phone call or holding this conversation or this meeting, right? That, yeah, you meant to go back and reconcile the books, and you meant to go back and reconcile some of the inventory, but some of those things slip through the cracks. And then when we spend that time to go back to make those kind of corrections, or even to input that data, right? We're spending that, our business owners are spending some of that time that can be truly put back in another aspect of their lives, whether it be within the business or their personal life, right? Getting home a little bit earlier to spend time with their family and your family in this example. But the inventory app comes to mind first, mm-hmm. Right? Simple, sweet, and easy, and even alerts, to what our retail clients deal with their vendors and their suppliers. So when they get down to a certain level of inventory, it automatically shoots out a message to the manufacturer or their mm-hmm. vendor to supply them again with X product, or so that it helps out in that stream to streamline their business in that capacity. So inventory app, and then outside of that would be tax management, right? Because as you made that sale on the inventory side of that piece of clothing, there's sales tax or taxes to be calculated based on that sale. There's an app called Davo that automatically calculates that for you, and it would escrow the sales tax. So you don't even have to think about having to pay it out because the app will pay it for you. Our clients don't have to pay an accountant or a bookkeeper, for that particular function within their business. So those two, Davo and the inventory app, are the first two that come to mind.
Let me see, man. I got questions for days, so let me ask you that. Well, I'm not even gonna go there yet. Like, what are some of the most valuable lessons that you've received so far?
That's a really good one. Some of the most valuable lessons that I've learned along this journey is everyone is different. There's no cookie cutter solution for each client that you talk to. Everyone is unique in what their goals are. Everyone is unique in what they want to get out of merchant services for their business, right? So I would say, just I always hear something new when I have a conversation with a client, right? And I'm always in a position, there's a Japanese word called Kaizen, which is continuous improvement. So for instance, I talked about the chargeback fighter app just now, and I was working with a client and they were saying that they were dealing with, that issue in particular. And because the Clover ecosystem, which is our flagship processing platform, I went into Clover and just kind of like started to research what it would be to help this client out. And I found that chargeback fighter app. So I'm always coming into different conversations with different business owners that are totally different from any one of the conversations that I've had in the past. And I've had thousands, hundreds and thousands of conversations. But that's it right there. Is just each person, each business owner, they're each unique. And that's why it's a relationship. It's a relationship industry. Each person is different, and you've got to remember that that it's not a cookie cutter solution involved. You've got to truly listen. And so I would say that that's one thing that I've learned a lot and continue to learn.
Absolutely, man. Be a sponge. Be a sponge. You can't serve the customer if you're deciphering what they need. They know exactly what they need. It's our jobs to point them into the right, put them into that right space.
Right.
But a lot of times, a lot of these merchant services providers are, like you said earlier, Yannick, the merchant themselves doesn't know what questions to ask and what's available to them. A lot of times the ISO is steering them in a direction so that they can get the most profit, so they can get utilize some stuff that they don't even need for their business, and they paying for month after month after month. Say I was a business owner, I'm a small business owner, big business owner, restaurateur, whatever, and I'm not satisfied with the current, merchant services provider, and I'm looking to shop around. What's the process like to switch merchant services providers and come on over to EBS?
Well, the beautiful thing is we have no contracts. And I've always been a firm believer in, if you're as good as what you say you are, you won't lock me into some type of term, right? Mm-hmm. Because when you lock somebody into a term, you're keeping them within a box, and you're forcing them to stay with you or be with you based on a given contract per se, right? So I always say, give us a try. You won't be disappointed. You will see the benefit of being with EBS and processing with EBS, and not only just a cheaper rate. Rates are one thing. We always going to beat a rate, but you won't be able to beat our service and our knowledge. And then also taking advantage of our networking group, right? Like I mentioned, what we do is we believe in not only processing for our small to medium business owners, but we truly get into knowing what they do and helping them grow their business as far as networking, as far as marketing initiatives, trying to get their name, get the name of their business out more foot traffic. So yeah, definitely it would be along those lines of maintaining that relationship.
Yeah, that's I was going to ask you an E.I.G question, but this ain't really the platform. You know what I'm saying? Matter of fact, I'm still going to ask it. So,
well, you can't just say it like that and then not ask it. People going to be like, "Whoa, I wonder."
That's a big people mind, dog. People say, "Oh, I was going to ask something, but never mind." I hate the word "never."
Nah, because it really it's more of a philosophical question as opposed to a question that has to do with this conversation. But it's always a question that I don't ever ask y'all. I really don't ever ask y'all.
Okay.
What exactly, like E.I.G, this E.I.G journey that you've been on since day one? Like, what has it brought to you? Just as an individual, both, whatever it may be. What has it brought to you? What have you, what have you got out of it? Not necessarily like, hey, we created EBS, but what have you personally got out of it?
I would say for me, personal gratification just seeing some of the impact that we have in the community. Even EBS, this is built, in the foundation of EBS is, making sure our community was educated. We're not taking advantage of folks. On the E.I.G side, book our book bag drives, giving back to the community again, for those that's less fortunate than ourselves, or that they're in need of it. Personal gratification is my number one thing, and just seeing how we've grown as a group, not only from our Juneteenth event, from having it at People's Church to now at Veterans Plaza this year, coming up here for Juneteenth, just showing the growth of how many vendors we've grown to, and the space that we've grown to, and just to see that impact, and it just speaks volumes to me personally, how we really are impacting the community, and even outside of what we've spoken about so far, even down to our skills and drills football camp, getting the kids off of the computer, off of the television, and getting back active, right? So just and those kids seeing that we're of the same complexion, for instance, that we're not doing something that they just see on television, right? They hearing us talk about investments and the business of merchant services, right? Bringing these thoughts to the youth early is extremely important to continue pushing forward our community and our so that's the impact for me. Honestly, it's just the gratification knowing that we really are impacting our community truly, and it's not just words. It's not just a slogan.
That's fair. I mean, that's the question that was asked. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I like to just see how it's different for different people. You know what I'm saying? It should not be, when it was created, it won't created to be the same thing for everybody. And that's just making sure that it's working the way that it's supposed to work.
Oh yeah, it's working. It's working. It's working. We got more coming too.
Yeah, absolutely. So, Bennett, you had another question before I give Yannick the elevator pitch. You got the elevator pitch?
Oh, I know he got the elevator pitch. The key is, does he have a 30-second elevator pitch? Nah. Yannick is a wordy cat, dog. I got 5 said he can't give a 30-second elevator. 2 minutes? Oh, he gonna give it to
you. We'll give him the from yeah, man. You got the floor, Yannick, man. 30 seconds. What you got?
Yes, sir. So when it comes to EBS, when I meet someone brand new, I tell them that, we have a Meet a Beat program here at EBS, multiple processing systems, multiple processing platforms, not only offering Clover, state-of-the-art cloud-based platform, but also integrations through gateways such as Authorize.net, ValorPay, and Swipe Simple for our mobile processing clients as well. From day one, you'll get a 24/7 customer service support, not only from our Clover platform, but from all of our agents. And we live by making sure that we help you grow your business. We'll make sure that we sit down, have an in-depth conversation about my favorite catchphrase is, what keeps you up at night? What keeps you up at night? Let us help you grow your business. Make sure that we keep your costs down as far as your processing fees go, and like I mentioned, we look to help you run and grow your business more efficiently.
Tell people how they can find EBS, how they can find you. Plug yourself.
So you can find us at extraordinarybusinesssolutions.com. Our social media, you can find us at the.ebsguys, the.ebsguys, GUYS. But definitely we update our website consistently. You'll see our processing rate flashing and rolling and scrolling on the home page. One big thing that I want to leave us with is that merchant services is bigger than just taking payment. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than that. It's bigger than you saving a few dollars and cents on credit card processing. Yes, I can save you $80 a month on credit card processing, but let's look at the bigger picture and see how we can save in other aspects of managing the business, right? Your payroll, your inventory, loyalty and marketing and campaigns. Not only do we offer the credit card processing piece, but we offer payroll solutions. We offer business financing solutions, business insurance solutions, right? So when you go to the website, you check us out, you not only will see the different terminals that you can take payment on, but also check out some of the other highlights and other features that merchant services provides outside of just the payment piece. Look at our software plans, our gateways. They're all in there, and hopefully I'm looking forward to speaking to you going forward and helping you grow your business.
And I guess the name is apropos. You talked about all these solutions. We're extraordinary business solutions. So, yeah, man.
100%.
We're extraordinarily helping you with any solution you need for your business. Let's go.
Yes. Yeah.
Hey, before we leave, we always got some dope gear on. Shout out to one of our merchant services providers here, Mariama, the CEO of World Citizens. I wore this shirt today, forgetting we was even doing this podcast, but again, it's apropos. Kindness is so gangster. That's one of her taglines. So salute to her.
Salute, Mariama. We love you.
And Case,
and for me too, I might want to shout me out too here.
What you got?
Ask me what I do. This
I know about ask me what I do.
Went to one of our one of the referrals and business partners that we connected with. She had a networking event, and this is one of her events. So shout out to Natasha. Ask me what I do. Great conversation starter. This is essentially exactly what we want to do within the community. We want to ask each other, what do we do, and collectively come together and support one another. So shout out to Natasha.
Mm-hmm. That's my networking apparel. They dope. I got a few of them tees and a hoodie. Salute.
Shoot, let me shout out my black designer, dog. Like this cat, man, like super creative cat, man. He from all over the place, man, and he just be making wild stuff. I'm saying whatever come up his mind, I'm saying. So, shout out to the designer. I don't know if y'all can see it, but it's some miscellaneous dude drinking out of whites only fountain.
Hey! I like it. We like it.
Shout out to the designer. Shout out to the designer, me, because I created this because I like it.
Yeah. All day.
Facts. Yeah. But with that being said, gentlemen, we appreciate y'all time. Everyone listening to the podcast, we appreciate y'all for tapping in. Another quality episode, man. We dropped some gems, dropped value. Extraordinary Exchange Podcast. Follow us on our socials and follow Extraordinary Investment Group. Invest with E.I.G. on Instagram, Facebook. And our Juneteenth Black Business Expo is right around the corner. Got to plug that. June 18th, which is Father's Day this year, is Sunday. Veterans Plaza in the heart of downtown Silver Spring. Shout out to Truist Bank. They're a sponsor of ours this year, partnered with us to help us throw an amazing event for the culture, for the community. And come out, pull up. It's going to be a vibe. It's going to be extraordinary even. So, yeah, get it. But, until next time, y'all be good. And see you on the next episode.
Thank you.
Peace.